Hi, I'm the Asian sensation Kanji. You're listening to Queen's Court.
Hi guys, this is the Queen of Queens Visage talking, and I am so happy to introduce you to the Queen's Court.
All right, y'all, welcome to episode 3 of Queeny Suggests right here on Queen's Court with your girl, the Queen of NE. I am super hyped for this episode. It's been a long time in the making. I am honored and excited to present to you the GetCho Wrestling Podcast boys. They're in the house. They've come to the castle. They are joining me in 2020, honey, and we're going to spill all of the tea and the good information about them. Boys, welcome.
Yo,
Hey.
what's up?
Well, you're honored,
Man,
we're honored.
We're
too.
honored too. We're finally in the castle of the queen. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let me shout you off for that intro, man. That
That's
intro
right,
was like,
man. The intro was pristine.
Thank you so much.
You know,
Well, thank
gotta
you
be a
so
word
much.
test, you know?
Well, listen, I'm a huge fan, obviously, and
Thank you.
nobody makes me laugh more than y'all and my boys at Heel Pops and Chair Shots. When I need a laugh,
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
when I need a laugh, I need to smile, I need to feel good about life in this wrestling world. Y'all who I turn on. So,
Oh my God,
I
that's a
just-
huge honor. That's a huge
so
honor.
excited.
That's a huge honor.
let me get some Kleenex real
Let me
quick.
get some
Like,
Kleenex.
man, you know what I mean, man.
Yo, allergies, man. Allergies. It's so
Allergies.
bad right now.
These allergies are so bad in January. Oh man, but like I said, so excited to have you here. I can't wait to have this conversation with you. But we have to start off with having you guys introduce yourselves to the Queen's Court audience as if they don't know you already. But that's all right. We're going to pretend they don't so they can get all the information that they need. Tell us a little bit about you guys.
All right, well, I'll start off. So I'm Justin Santos. What's it called? You know, go ahead.
I'm Jay. And I'm Luigi.
And then we have a fourth member, Daryl, who one of the reasons why this podcast has been so great is that Daryl, who's my brother, he moved out to Denver last March. So, and he's been he was originally part of the first few episodes. Then now that he's moved away, obviously he can't join us, but he's been our social media presence. So if you interacted with him on Twitter, you're most likely talking to him or anyone else who's been listening.
Shout out.
Shout out, Daryl.
Shout out.
Shout out to Daryl. Awesome. Well, y'all, I gotta ask the beginning question that I asked everybody, and it's a little bit about your wrestling fandom. What was the thing that got you into wrestling? What was either the specific moment or maybe it's a person? What happened to get you involved in watching this great sports entertainment, whatever you want to call it, that we enjoy?
Okay, I'll get it started. I think I remember when I was a kid, I saw Hulk Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior. And then also a transition to like me liking Shawn Michaels and the Bret Hart rivalry, you know, the Iron Man match rivalry, you know. So I don't know, like for some reason, like it was something that was like, you know, it was like a sport for me because I hate to say it like this, I'm not a fan of football as much.
What?
Yeah, I know, but like for some reason wrestling just gravitated towards me. I was like, man, this is something. Especially HBK, you know, to me he's one of the greatest right now. So it's the GOAT, you know, we call him the GOAT. But yeah, I mean, and then yeah, that's how I got into it.
Cool.
Yeah.
I have to say it's a little bit of the same thing for me. You know, when you're a kid, you know, for me, I'm a little bit more of a geek, right? So like seeing things on TV that mimic a comic book type of thing, like wrestling was the closest thing. You know, you have your superheroes and your villains. And so like just seeing that on TV, it definitely connected with me, just like I'm pretty sure it connected with you, connected with a lot of other people. And then just seeing like the athleticism and somewhat of a storyline. You know, I think one of the first memories I was seeing not to talk about the wedding again, but the Macho Man wedding with Elizabeth, and then how a snake came out of the box. I don't know if you remember that. You know, the first, I guess you could say, snake in a box thing. But hold on, slow down.
Hold on.
So it just kind of like that, and just ever since that, since day one, I've been just into wrestling the whole time, and then dipping into other wrestling promotions like New Japan and ECW and all that. So just been loving it ever since.
For me, kind of, I mean, I knew about the earlier wrestlers like HBK, like Bret Hart, but for me, it kind of I caught on later because of The Rock, and these guys know that I'm in love.
Oh man, speaking about tissue, man, teach me.
I'm in love with The Rock, and that's what caught me on. Now, I can't pinpoint a match in particular, but just the mic skills the guy had. Just it'll never be
the wiggling of the tongue.
The wiggling of his stomp, before he even stomped. There's like the eyebrow. There's still like many idiosyncrasies that he had that like it just made him like perfect, man.
Right. The cutoff boot for
spitting on his hand before he slapped the guy.
No, that's right.
Oh my
sliding
God.
to people's elbow, sliding.
Just like, who can make an elbow a finishing move, like a not even off the top rope, just an elbow, running across the ropes.
Right.
The
Rock, man.
So,
If you didn't catch it, that's Jay's favorite wrestler. Just so you know.
No, really? It's so cool. Is like I feel like there's such few people from like our wrestling past fandom that could do stuff like that. The Rock, Stone Cold got over.
Right.
Jericho got a little bit of the bubbly recently over. Like how years ago, a list. It's just there's some people who have that ability. And I think to your point, it's like, it's captivating and it's interesting. And how do they do that? And it makes them so much fun to watch. It's something that I miss a lot in wrestling. I wish more people would have that effect. But I guess that's a little bit of what makes it so special, right?
Right. You bring up the Stone Cold thing. Like, what type of moves did he have? It's not like he had like Ricochet type moves. It's because he had that swag. He was such a hard ass and just entertaining.
The personality.
You have to have that whole package.
He had the character.
You don't have to do a 540 splash to get everyone's attention.
Exactly. I mean, like, just to kind of like going what you're saying, like, it's like that's what's kind of being lost a little bit nowadays. It's like everything is like more of a sport, which is cool, but it's sports entertainment. So I feel like the entertainment part is not at the same level as the sports level. There's only a few right now that are doing that, and I kind of miss that.
Yeah, it's something special, and it's something that I feel like the WWF, when it was the WWF at the time, had it had in the pocket. It was just it was perfect. It was the things that we really connected with, and now it's so much different. But I think that also speaks to the change in the business and the opportunities that we have now and possibilities. It's just it wasn't the same back then. We didn't have that same opportunity, and now it's huge.
Right.
So much to choose from.
Right.
And to that end, what's keeping you involved in wrestling right now?
If we could cue the Jeopardy sound, sound effect right now.
I'm gonna say for me, what's keeping me like currently is the fact that AEW and all these other, and New Japan, it's not just WWE anymore. I like that AEW. For me, I don't know. Maybe I'm like, a lot of disagreements, but AEW is like my choice TV program to watch at the moment.
Yep.
At this point of my life, I just want to watch cool shit, not some like
Bobby Lashley
ass,
not Bobby Lashley getting married to Lana.
Some Days of Our Lives type storyline. I just want to see cool shit. Some stuff thrown in there with storylines, and that's what AEW brings.
Right.
But what's keeping me is kind of just AEW really helped, kind of iron sharpening iron type of thing, and that's stepping up NXT, it's stepping up WWE. Well, more so NXT. WWE is not after this. They still got to improve too. But I like that there's a lot of avenues that we can watch different types of wrestling.
For sure.
Okay. For me, honestly, I know this is gonna sound whatever, but I don't care. It's It's the women.
Woo.
For me, it's the women.
Yes.
I mean, it's funny because like what drew me to NXT in the beginning in 2014 was the women, was the 4 horsewomen, Sasha, Bayley, Charlotte, and then on the other side, Asuka in New Japan also. So like the women in wrestling currently and in WWE and AEW has got me what's really invested, because a lot of their matches they feel like they wanted more. They feel like they have a lot more to prove. they feel like there's more of a camaraderie. Like they're trying to like show out and try to like improve together. Versus I don't know, the men, I feel like just because I feel like some of them feel like they could take a night off for some reason. With some of the women, I feel like since they have a little bit more to prove and showcase, and like they know that their time is like it may not be as long as they want, so they're trying to make the most of it. I don't know. For me, it's the women.
Yeah, good answer. Good answer.
Shout out to Stasha.
I like it.
For me, it's probably because of like the way evolution has evolved with wrestling in general. Because when I said that, like I like the Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart rivalry, now I'm seeing it a little bit in Adam Cole and maybe Johnny Gargano, or like, and then now you got AEW coming up, and it kind of brings up Monday Nitro kind of vibes, kind of like Monday Night Wars or whatever. But I just love wrestling in general, and I hate to say it like this, but I don't really care. It's kind of slapped to the face of the people that always told me, like, why do you like that? Wrestling's fake.
Right.
And it's like now it's getting so big in culture now that it's like it's so mainstream that everyone's like, oh man, this is kind of cool. I'm like, yeah,
now you got them haters coming back.
Yeah, so it's kind of almost like a revenge thing, but not really. But I'm always gonna like wrestling no matter what. So.
And it's cooler now because we don't have those roided up freaks. It's not
right.
It's not the Vince days where you have like 300-pound guys who are slow as hell, but they're just muscular.
Right. They
now
can't move.
Like the Adam Coles, the Ricochets,
the Keith Lee. Like also too, like the what shape a body a wrestler is nowadays is so different from what it used to be.
Yeah.
Right.
That's very true. You look at a poster from the 80s and a poster from now, you'd be like, what?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
You're totally right. I mean, it's like all those people who would always, rag on us for liking wrestling when we were younger, they got their comeuppance a little bit because look at how cool it is. I mean, even though like WWE, I got some problems with them, but this thing with Fox, right? And the integration of putting wrestlers on their programming and like doing that cross stuff, and even the draft, as silly as it was, like the Fox boardroom, and there's all these people like trying to pick talent, and they're like inserting football announcers and stuff like that is making it so much more visible, I think, than ever before. And when I mean, listen, WWE is the top. That's just how it is. But what happens there, is able to permeate through the rest as well, which I think is really dope, because then it opens up opportunities of stuff that has been going on for a really long time, but hasn't really had the spotlight thrown on it until now. And that's like the dopest thing about wrestling right now, I think. So to your point, I hear that 100%.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
There's so much to love, and there's a lot more choice. We were talking about that earlier too. You can have different, we could enjoy different matches. We can enjoy different wrestlers, and we can find basically anything that you want. You can find. You want to see someone get hit with light tubes? You could find that. See some, crazy flippy wrestling that people don't like for whatever reason. We got that too. We got everything that you could possibly want. But
and the diversity too of people.
Yes.
There's a huge spectrum of diversity and ethnicity in wrestling.
Right.
In the beginning, not to cut you off, but in the beginning, like I didn't know what a Samoan was until I saw the head shrinkers. I was like, Samoa, what's that?
Those Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah,
I really thought Yokozuna was Asian, like honestly.
And you're like, oh, that's not what that is.
Okay, all right, Iron Sheik. I'm like, okay. And then he finds out he's actually born here in the United States. It's like,
I know.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the coolest story about. I'd even go back to 2018. A little bit of 2018. Obviously, this past year in 2019, the diversity, of male, female talent, of inclusion, of all sorts of stuff is really the story that we've got to experience as fans. But for you guys, top 2 personal favorite wrestlers working right now, who are they?
Oh man, just 2.
Just 2 today.
Oh,
just 2
man.
You want to go ahead, or you got?
I'm gonna give some. I got one.
Okay. All right.
One of y'all can go.
Well, we might have some of the same answers.
Yeah.
Adam Cole.
Adam Cole is one. Okay.
But I can't think of right now.
For me, I have 2 already. Obviously, you guys know Daniel Bryan. And judging by I know you watched last night, I gotta go with Okada.
My boy.
I gotta go with Okada, the Rainmaker. That's definitely the way that those two back-to-back matches that they had last night. He definitely proves why he's a wrestler of the decade. You know.
I mean, listen.
Yeah. Listen.
You ain't lying.
Did you get your other one?
Oh, I'm wearing his shirt. I mean, AJ Styles. You know what I mean? I've always loved AJ Styles from when TNA, when nobody likes TNA. People still don't like TNA, I feel.
I feel like people are coming back to it.
Yeah, coming back a little
coming
bit.
out of the woodwork, like a TNA fan,
And then obviously, I agree with Jay. Adam Cole. I mean, he's getting trained by. I hate to say it like this. People gave me a hard time about him. I didn't see it for a little bit till later on. He's getting trained by Shawn Michaels. I mean,
that's true.
You know what I mean? Adam Cole is just killing it right now.
He's getting that rub.
Yeah,
he really is.
And it's helping.
Yeah, AJ Styles and Adam Cole for me.
Good choice.
Adam Cole for me. I'd like to say one. There's a charisma about him that I feel like he could be in any era. Like he could be part of the Attitude Era.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
That's my top one. I can't name another right now.
Just Adam Cole and Adam Cole.
Adam Cole and
You could also say Adam Cole and the ghost of Adam Cole, right? Because he died. So that works. It's such great choices, and what years all of them have had. I mean, I know AJ slowed down a little bit, but he's still one of the best in the whole world.
Oh, for sure.
I belt or no belt, OC or no OC, he's fine. He's just gonna do him, which is awesome.
Right.
But all of this awesome wrestling talk, obviously, you're on a podcast. You made your podcast. Yeah. Why?
Well, okay, so obviously we're all friends. We've been friends for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And with Charlie and Garn, who's been on the show, we have a group chat. And for, I don't know, however we started texting, we've been having this group chat for a long time. And me and Daryl are huge fans of podcasts. And so Luigi was just like, why don't we just do a wrestling podcast? And then Jay's like, how the hell do we do that? And then so we just, did a little bit of research. We found that the library that we live in Bolingbrook, shout out to Bolingbrook, has a studio. And so they have the equipment. And so we just kind of just jumped off since then. And then we also felt like, sometimes, your podcast is also a good one that we've listened to in the past, right? That kind of inspired us. And so shout out to you.
Oh, man.
So we were like, you know what? If we can sound different on a podcast, not sound, no disrespect, but not too nerdy.
Sure.
Maybe we can sound different and do what we do in the group chat and do it on a podcast. Because we kind of have a barbershop type vibe. We insert our own personalities into the show. Because, trust me, without this podcast, we still would be acting the same way regardless of the podcast.
I believe it.
So that's kind of the main reason why we wanted to do it. Just because, and there's no 4 Filipino Asians out there really in the podcast community. So we want to represent that person.
And I feel like there is a big population of Asian,
that
sweaties. So
sweaties.
And
right.
I just feel like we're in the hip hop culture, we're in the sports, right? And we kind of add some of that in our podcast as well. And I feel like, we're already at close to 4,000 followers on Twitter. And
is it or 104?
Currently, our Twitter is not working. I don't know what happened, but we have a temporary one.
I was like, where'd my boys go?
Shout out to you for reaching out.
I was worried. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Shout out to you.
Man, are we banned? What did we say?
I don't know. What did we say? I know there's a lot of stuff that I said, but
yeah, combine the temporary Twitter with our old Twitter. There's 4,000. So and we're we'll be over a year. So it's it's been crazy. It's been surreal. And I think Daryl was at a show on Monday. I mentioned this on a recording earlier today that someone recognized them. We're in GetCho shirts. It's weird. I'm sure it's happened to you too. That's just
right. Is that Queeny, man? You walking down the street? Hey, Queen! I'm pretty sure it happened over in New York.
Queen is undercover, man. People don't know. I got to keep it tight because of my real job. But
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think that's so dope. And over a year, right?
About a year.
Yeah.
About a year. Yeah.
That's crazy. So you've been doing this for a while. That's a long time to keep a podcast going. What has been for you the best part about creating your show?
Well, I gotta say, this is probably number one. Being on your show, it's probably number one for us.
Hey.
You know,
Oh God.
shout out to the queen.
Let me. I'll bring up.
What you got?
Not to sound a little sappy,
No,
but
it's okay. What?
you know,
Right?
Daryl's our fourth member. He's my big bro. I'm little bro. So you know, for someone who I look up to, and he moved out to Denver, and it's just like a great way for all. I mean, not just me, but even Luigi and Justin to stay connected. He's far away. We don't see it. It's hard. It's weird, like not seeing him as often as we did before. So having this podcast is really strengthening our bond and just staying connected and with something we love, with wrestling. It's been great.
Friends.
Growing yes.
As you can see, Justin's a sap in the group here.
That's all right. We just admitted we had allergies. It's okay.
A sensitive one.
You gotta have a sensitive one.
Gotta have it.
Isn't that like how the boy bands do it, right? A sensitive
one.
one.
That's right.
The bad boy. The boy next door.
Oh man.
There you go.
And what was Joey Fatone?
Joey Fatone, the hungry boy.
Oh, there you go.
The big brother type, right?
There you go.
We're all set.
Big. Emphasize big. Man.
What, the last man think so? The last man think so?
Oh man.
What was he called then? Well, anyway.
Oh Lord, help
That's
me.
why they got that dirty pop song.
Oh.
Anyway.
Oh yeah.
But what was I gonna say? The biggest moment for me, I don't know. To be honest, I want to say the TJP interview was probably up there for me, just because that was when we first started, that was a huge goal on our minds, because the whole Filipino thing, and we thought that it would be such a hard reach, but that's kind of the reason why you make goals, right? Try to get to them, and then Daryl shot at us. I was like, yo, so we got the email. Oh shit, so we got it, and so it was pretty exciting to talk to him and
we claim TJ. Dave Bautista is Filipino, but we don't claim him. TJP is he's our number one Filipino wrestler.
He's your Filipino claim. All right.
Yeah. After that Dana Brooke shit.
Yeah.
But no. Sorry. Shout out TJP.
Shout out to Tito Dave too.
Dude, that was one of my favorite episodes you guys ever did. That was an awesome interview. Loved it.
Thank you.
Wow.
So that's definitely gotta be up there, and then just hearing people respond on the Twitter and stuff is another one too, because you put something out and then you don't know what the response is going to be, whether it's negative or positive, but just the fact that there's even an interaction is a pretty big deal. So that's definitely got to be my top two right now. Sir?
Yeah, probably for me is just doing this podcast in general, the interaction we always have with our Twitter followers and stuff like that. Lately, our boy Justin over here, we did our was it top 10 wrestlers of the decade or whatever, and then the interaction's awesome because we just really want to put out a show that's this is how we feel about it, and I hope you guys like it. If you like it, great. If you don't, tell us, but we've been fans forever with wrestling, and I just always wanted to do something where I want to speak up my mind on how I feel about wrestling in general, and to me it's just fun in general. That's it. So, and how else can you have fun than doing it with your guys that you've been with for a while? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yo.
So, okay. All right. Next question, please.
I found the one who doesn't like this.
The thing is that we clown on wrestling as much as we take it seriously, but there's a lot of that's what we call our podcast GetCho. I mean, it's
you know what, Jay, explain why it's called GetCho. This is his idea.
You took it out of my mouth before I even asked it. Tell me.
All right, Jay.
Man.
It's a little bit of everywhere you go, right? In New York, they got slang. Over here in Chicago, we have slang. So usually the term "getcho" comes from "get your ass out of here." So we just combine the two words and be like, "Get your ass out of here." Man, getcho trying to do that layup, trying to be like Michael Jordan over there,
Yeah.
Just
GetCho on their exes at that wedding, you know what I mean?
Get you for trying to holler at that girl who's 17.
Oh.
What's that?
I love that.
GetCho on. I sent the video. I put a video on our Twitter on GetChoing those damn paramedics 2 weeks ago on Raw.
For not picking up Kevin Owens.
Trying to put Kevin Owens in the ambulance, but they couldn't lift up the.
Oh, first of all, GetCho on Dana Brooke for trying to do a swanton bomb, and she fucked up and she landed on Sasha's
stomach. Man.
So it's just like we're just clowning. So
yeah.
GetCho on Bailey's mic skills, trying to be a heel, you know. GetCho on her entrance music, we just played this on the episode earlier. It sounds like The Rock, and that's why I'm pissed.
Right.
If you listen to her entrance music, when the beat dropped, it sounds like The Rock's entrance.
I love that. I love that it's Chicago slang too. That's like we say over here, boy, if you don't get it,
There you go.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
There you go.
It's so funny. Well, I was so curious about how that came together, so I love that.
Yeah.
GetCho on a lot of things.
GetCho on things.
There's a lot of things that you could say.
Yeah.
Should have been me.
Well, I guess speaking on that a little bit though, is your vibe. That's, you incorporate some of your stuff in your slang and your personalities. And you talked a little bit earlier about how, you have your barbershop type vibe. It makes you a little bit different than what is out there in terms of wrestling podcasts, because as we know, it's a large ocean.
Oh yeah, it's huge.
And you want to do what you can to make yourself stand out, right? Make people want to listen to what you have to say personally and connect with you in that way. So I'm curious as to, like, if you had the mic right now, which you're about to, and I'm going to tell you to cut a promo as to why people should listen to your podcast.
Oh.
What would you say?
Why
do people tune in?
Step up.
Oh man.
Why should people tune in?
Why should people tune in?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think.
Oh, here we go.
I think because I want to make sure I got the mic. I got the mic. You know what I'm saying?
It's ready.
I think people need to put down, unsubscribe to somebody that's in a little kid that's somebody doing their podcast in their mama's basement, who got nothing to say and just looking up Google Facts, who's talking up PWI for references. If you want to hear a real fan, a real person that really loves wrestling, you need to take your ass, pump up the volume, and listen to the Get Your Podcast crew.
Okay. PWI.
Oh!
Said PWI for information. I can't.
Just a little bit.
A little something.
A little something.
What should we add on to it?
I don't know. Do we need to add? Do we need to say more?
No. That's it. That's good.
That was a little mic drop right there.
A little bit. That was a little bit of a,
just a little simmer. You can go out backstage and do promo school with Booker T.
Or give her a Grayson.
I don't want to go up against Samoa Joe on that.
No, thank you. No. I'll just be like, you could take this. I'll take
Kristen. I'll take Kristen.
Yeah, there you go.
David Arquette.
Well, I think, from a fan perspective, right, of me being a fan of you, and when I've talked to other people about you, not in a bad way, in a good way, like, hey, you should listen to, right? Mm-hmm. Every time I bring your name up, they go, dude, those guys crack me up. What did I tell you? I always say to somebody, it's real, down to earth, and funny. What more do you want in your life? I get the information that I need to get. I know that. I don't have to worry about that, right? I don't need no PWI information. I'm good. Or Ringsider news. Ringsider, I cannot. But, and I'm going to laugh. I'm going to enjoy myself and have a good time. And then by the time the episode's over, I'm like, oh, dang. All right. Then I got to wait for next week. That's what's cool. And that's how I feel about wrestling shows. If you can hold my attention for that long, you sold me. Right. So that's from me to you. What I think and why people should listen. What's that?
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I think the fact that we don't nerd out. I think what makes us approachable is that we are outgoing like that. We call things out. We kind of silly, doing the GetCho on. Yeah. We call out a lot of stupid things, and we're not into like the. Well, Sasha won this in 2015. Why does she know? Her
ring gear is red. She's gonna win.
I think we're just approachable because we're trying not to go that super sweaty route. We're just like I said, we're in our living room just talking shit about wrestling.
Right.
And you take it seriously without being like crazy about it.
Right.
Take
Yeah.
it seriously, but not too seriously. You're on the right line where you should be, I think. Yeah.
Right, for sure.
Yeah, what's so serious about Bobby Lashley's cut off tuxedo, you know?
Listen.
What's so serious about Liv Morgan's, as if they went to the zoo and she got attacked by an animal and her bra is showing on top of her suit. Yeah, like, what's up with that?
It's not, hey, listen.
Wrestling fashion. You're talking to the wrestling fashion.
Yeah.
I got lots to say. Too much to say. But as we move into this new year and this new decade, 2020, what are our goals, boys? What are we reaching for this year?
Let's see.
Well, I know Daryl's been really ambitious, man. Shout out to him.
Yeah.
He's like reaching out. I mean, just because we're into sports, he's reaching out to like
NBA
teams to see if any like players want to. And I'm sure there's players out there who casually watch or are into and that want to talk. I mean, the worst they could say is no.
Yeah.
Just like when you're trying to ask out that girl in school in class, you're nervous to ask. The worst they could say is no.
That's true.
And that's the thing. So Daryl's being like reaching out to NBA, reaching out to just all these promotions, see if we can get some credentials and just talk to anyone. And I mean, that's what happened. That's how we got TJP. We never thought we would.
Yeah, Crystal.
Sure.
Crystal. And so, I mean, I think my goal, I mean, for me is just trying to get more interviews, collabs with you and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing too is just to kind of reach more people, more new listeners, and trying to bring the wrestling fan out of them, trying to introduce wrestling in a way, because that's kind of like our thing too. We want to be approachable. Sometimes when you see a wrestling fan, it's like, they could be socially awkward or whatever, and we're trying to show them like, not everybody's like that. Some people are like you, like the Queen, like Dead Ass Girls podcast, like Benji, shout out to them, like not everybody's like that. You can see all the people I mentioned and ourselves, we're just like outgoing people. We just want to have a conversation about the thing we love, me and Luigi talked about on the side, possibly trying to do a merch line, but it's a goal. It's a goal. We tried.
What kind of merch? What kind of merch?
I don't know.
I mean, Queen, you could be wearing a hat right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could be wearing it right now.
I would love to.
Get your box tee logos. What?
As long as it's a snapback.
Oh,
there you help you.
There you go. There you go.
Snapbacks are where it's at.
Just a little bit, a little side thing, just to get our name out there.
Love that.
To piggyback to that, I just want to enjoy this ride. Like I can't believe it's been a year, and like there's so many people we've interacted with, like you said, like Benji, like it's just, I just want it to keep going, like just keep pushing, and like who knows what could happen in 2020. I just want us to keep growing, and like I just want wrestling to be like as cool as I thought it was as a kid, and keep having that same feeling moving on. And, we're all adults here and everything, and wrestling is so awesome. And like I said earlier, when people said that like wrestling is like fake to me, yeah, it's fake. Do you watch Netflix? Like, what show do you watch? Law and Order.
Hello.
Yeah, it's fake, right? Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like I just want wrestling to keep going and pushing. It's what's best for business. All right. So
thank you, Triple H. I appreciate that.
No, I just want us to keep going. I just want us to keep going, and like this ride is just so much fun.
Yeah, well, if you ain't having fun, then why are you doing it, right?
Right.
There you go.
It's all about the fun, boys. And speaking of fun, it has been so much fun speaking to you. I'm so happy you came on the show. I can't wait for everybody to be listening to this right now and go and listen to what you have to say on your show. So tell them all where they can find you, all of the information, so they know exactly where to go.
So y'all can follow us on our blocked Twitter right now. It's at GetCho Podcast. I'm sure, I don't know if you can find us right now, but it'll get resolved in the next few days. But yeah, at GetCho Podcast, and we're also on Instagram. Our main presence is Twitter.
We have the second GetCho Podcast.
Yeah, at GetCho Podcast 2. But y'all don't have to worry about that. Once at GetCho Podcast is ready, start following, and we appreciate support. We try to put some funny shit out there.
Yeah.
and retweet a lot of great things like what you post. So
follow us on Instagram too. You know, there's a building process there. Instagram, like, you know, we try to post as much as we can on Instagram, but like, you know,
and Instagram is a little bit different from what the Twitter is. Instagram is a little bit more creative. It's a little bit more shortcut videos type things. Follow us on the GetCho Instagram, GetCho Podcast Instagram, and then we're all on the Apple Podcast apps. You know, Stitcher
for the Android users. For the Android users,
can't leave them behind. Good.
Google Podcasts. You know, all the Android. All the Android apps. You know?
Excellent. Well, I'm glad, and I know people will be subscribing to y'all ASAP because they do whatever I tell them to do, because I am the queen.
Hey, all right.
The queen has spoken.
The queen has spoken, honey. And I'm telling you, follow my boys, dropping the mic. That's it. Giving y'all instructions. So, as you are winding down this episode, thank you again for coming on the show. I appreciate you so very much. And to everyone listening, as always, have a great rest of your week, and please be kind to one another.
Hey.
Thanks, Queen.
Thank you, Queen.
Boy.
Peace.